Berkshire Hathaway's Charlie Munger says he's disgusted by Bitcoin's success. Let's listen to exactly what he had to say.
Of course, I hate the Bitcoin success. And I don't welcome a currency that's so useful to kidnappers and extortionists and so forth, nor do I like just shuffling out a few extra billions and billions and billions of dollars to somebody who just invented a new financial product out of thin air. So I think I should say modestly that I think the whole damn development is disgusting and contrary to the interests of civilization. And I'll leave the criticism to others.
I'm all right on that one.
Oh, wow.
You put it modestly.
There you
really
go. But tell us what you really think. Tell us what you really think, Charlie. So, I mean, there's so much to unpack here. He's talking about all the, kidnappers. He's also talking about the fact that we're just giving money to Satoshi. Created this out of thin air. I mean, I don't know how many times I can facepalm myself in a segment. Let me just throw it to the group, get your take first. Will, immediate thoughts on this?
Frustration, most of all. So, I mean, of course, Berkshire Hathaway and those two are just legendary value investors, and they have all the money they need to be able to make those kind of proclamations about any asset they want from a pretty safe position. But at the same time, it just kind of is frustrating to see people not take an interest in looking at the market itself and just being genuinely curious about why something like Bitcoin is novel and why it has value. Particularly given that Bitcoin has been through a few different bubbles. And I'm certain that Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger have seen a few of these before, and they're reading financial reports daily. So I don't quite understand why after 3 or 4 or 5 of these bubbles are not saying, there could be something here. And then the criticisms itself that they're leveling just easily debunked. And it's frustrating to see like the same narratives spelled over and over again.
Yeah, and I want to talk about what you said there, Will, because you mentioned that they're very successful. Actually, Berkshire Hathaway has significantly underperformed the market for a long time, for the past 10 years. So if you look at this chart, comparing it to the success of Bitcoin, it's quite dramatic. So the fact that people consider these, apparent, investor giants to be relevant still, it baffles me. I don't want to be like a real mean person about it, but honestly, like he clearly doesn't understand Bitcoin if he's saying that, we're just shuffling off money to this person who created a money out of thin air. Like how are we shuffling any money? Like he clearly doesn't understand how Bitcoin works and that no one's in control. No one's being given a percentage of all the Bitcoin and every transaction they get fed a little bit. He's probably thinking in terms of the mindset of someone who runs a fund, a managed fund where he gets a lot of money, regardless of how well his fund actually does, right? So, Ben, I saw your hand go up there. I'd love your thoughts.
I mean, me and Jen were before the show debating like whether this guy has the internet, like period.
I don't think
because really, it's unclear. He is not on Twitter. It looks like, so he avoided, that sort of crowd coming for him. No, I mean, I think it's just really tiring. Like I'm tired, just even listening to it, just because it sort of, demonstrates whatever corporate memo he got in terms of explaining what Bitcoin was, what some of the risks are, blah blah blah. It's just something we've heard time and time and time again, and I think at this point, it really does show sort of a ignorance about a lot of the underlying factors that influence, cryptocurrencies more generally, but also the appeal of Bitcoin. And so I think when these people are leveling this sort of criticism at this, as modestly, quote unquote, as maybe he put it, I think you're just kind of like showing how little you know. And I think that's more indicative than any sort of like positive value to put on this sort of assessment.
Yeah, and
this whole extortionist.
Sorry, go ahead, Jen.
I was just going to say this whole extortionist and kidnapper narrative is so tired. I mean, extortionists and kidnappers were doing just fine with fiat, and they don't need Bitcoin to commit crimes. It just feels like ruffling feathers for no reason, and it really just points to the fact that they don't really understand what they're talking about.
Zach, what you got?
I think this is a good opportunity to just think about whether all figureheads are clueless to a degree. I think crypto is nice in that we can escape figureheadism, and yet we are very much in figurehead mode, even within crypto, even with crypto projects. I think a lot of people love it when Financial Titan X goes rah rah Bitcoin. Okay, well, here's Financial Titan Y saying Bitcoin sucks. Maybe like both of those financial titans aren't necessarily as savvy as some of the other people in the space, and maybe you should be looking elsewhere for people who can educate you on the thing. So yeah, maybe there's like, I don't know, equal opportunity sort of like anti-figureheadism here that could be remembered from this particular episode. That to me seems sort of like maybe the bigger step back that this moment affords us.
That's such a
I
good
think
point.
that, and Munger, if you're out there, I want to direct you to CoinDesk Learn section where you can actually read about some of these things.
Get educated, boy. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it speaks to the fact that we have the wrong signaling devices, I think, in society. We look to people who have a lot of, public facing opportunities. They have a lot of money and we think, oh, they must know what they're talking about. It's just not always the case. Hollywood says a lot of dumb stuff. Charlie Munger's saying a lot of dumb stuff. I wouldn't recommend you go to them for Bitcoin advice.